All right, hey, what's up, you guys? It's Emily. Just going to give you some positive, productive feedback on these portfolio websites that you submitted. So you know the drill, and that is that this feedback is meant to push this site to its next best place, knowing, of course, that it will never be finished because theoretically you are growing and changing and doing different and better work. And so your portfolio should constantly be updated to reflect that. You are finishing Port 6 and heading into the last portfolio, which is more focused on job search and interview. And so it would behoove you, that is to say, it would be of benefit to you, great benefit, if you went into portfolio 7 with a strong, clear, solid portfolio already in place. So the expectation, of course, is that you take this feedback as it's relevant to you and your own understanding of why you need a portfolio. That's especially true for you, Brett. And push this to its next best place so that you always have something ready should opportunity come knocking. We're actually going to start with eBay's. So eBay's brand is Bates Media, photo and video. I dig the aesthetic. Knowing that you do photo and video, it seems like I should get some sort of wow factor here without having to click beyond this, right? This is kind of like a gate, and now I have to poke around. I like the cleanness of this, but like, what if this could be in a hero image up here at the top, maybe over like a darker black and white photo, something, and then like there would be more content on the page here. So like I'm having to click somewhere else to even really learn anything more about you. So under live music, just checking out some of the amazing photos that we see here and that are logging in. I'm going to click on one. And it's opening up in this light box. So, all of this stuff, all of these images look fantastic as your work is excellent. Portraits and promos. I know that all of this is going to be pretty similar, in terms of the layout and the functionality of it. All of this is beautiful and really showcases the depth of your skill set. And the many number of categories or types of work that you do, right? So here we're going from these categories of just still imagery to video and then weddings. And I guess this is because this takes me to your wedding site. And that's true because I can see it in the bottom corner of the screen there. One thing to note is that there's like no brand here anymore, right? The brand has disappeared, and so no Bates photo and video. That is a disservice to the site. I'd like to see you add it up here at the top so that we always know the identity of the photographer and who's claiming this amazing work. Jumping here to About Me, some awesome photos, a little bit of your background. This as a header seems a lot different in terms of like the aesthetic of the rest of the topography because everything else is kind of thin. So we have photos here. Some things to be thinking about is custom thumbnails. Also, something to be thinking about is I don't know if I pressed play on that or it just automatically started. Don't have your videos automatically start if that's an option. Custom thumbnails, but also meaningful titles, right? So proof of concept video first edit. That sounds like a draft. It sounds like maybe a work in progress. And so be thoughtful about what you're calling these. And also, okay, so here, camera and editing. Maybe I might recommend you do this. Video first. Underneath it, title, description of the piece, roles that you played, camera and editing. For each of these, all of this stuff is great. About, we went there, book now. It's going to take me just to a place. Anytime you're using bullets, bullets always need to be left aligned. This looks really kind of jagged. I'm glad to see that you have more of a contact form here. You know, like as a freelancer, as a creative, you need to minimize the amount of time that you're spending like landing and onboarding clients. So the best way to do that is by creating forms that do most of the work for you. So all that is looking good. Overall, super excited. You know, also to see you guys starting to use your custom domain names. All of that should be individualized and you know, in alignment with your brand. It really increases the professionalism. So super well done there. It's been a pleasure to see your work evolve as the ways that you package and promote it. So super well done. I'm gonna go now to Lexi's site. We've got the brand, places to connect with social media right up front, creation strategy, about contact. Love the simplicity. One thing is there's a lot of empty space here, and then like it's telling me to scroll down. Like my recommendation would be to like, there's too much blank space here before we're getting to this. So tighten that up quite a bit. So you're bringing this up higher on the page, so I'm not having to scroll as much to get your content, because it is kind of weird that you have this much blank space between like the edge of this black and your name, and then like not a lot here. It's like a tiny bit of space. So we got some featured content. I'm looking, you know, like I like what I see, but I have no idea about these things, and I can't click on them to find out more about them. Give me a title and then like a brief description, like logo design, or you know, I have no idea to understand what you did here, right? Because right here you say creation or strategy. So like, is this just a logo for a company that you help with strategy, or did you design this? There's not a lot for me to understand what I'm looking at here. So give me some context. See more is going to take me to different projects, featured strategy work. Okay, so this is content creation, but not really sure where, you know, the content itself, right? So the comments are still relevant, you know, but something for you to be thinking about is just clarifying this a bit more, so you're not leaving it up to the assumption of the viewer. All of this stuff here, like not sure why we've got these big black bars in between. I think it would look cleaner without. We've got about you, so like a nice little like blurb, a little bit about your background and education. Definitely can take this off until you have stuff that you want to be putting up there. So placeholder content, you know, you don't need to include that. When it's ready, and that's when you're going to post it. Here, this enter your name, enter your email, all of that is a bit redundant, and like, you know, forms are so prevalent and you know, highly used by everybody that you don't need to put this kind of like direction here. People can go ahead and get that. Scrolling down, just a simple contact, ways to keep in touch via social, all that's looking amazing. So creation is taking me down to this spot. Strategy, down to this one, loving it. About, okay, so I see how this is going and working. All right, I'm next going to go here to see more, which is going to take me to a new page, I think. Here it comes. All right, so this is what I really want to see, content creation. I really love how you've done this. You've got the content rolling through and then the story behind it. Really well done. Same thing with this. Beautiful way to talk about your work. It looks like you've got your equipment stuff in there. It is a little crowded, right? Like not enough breathing room between these elements. So, you know, I think that this is a nice spacing, you know, like have this much spacing between anything that we see here. Also, you never want to center align paragraph text. So all that's going to be left aligned, left aligned. Nice. Okay, so it looks like you have, we've got all your content creation stuff here. That's awesome. Okay, and then if we go back to strategy, it's going to take me here and then move me here, see more. Popping in on here. So again, all of this needs to be left aligned, and really give a bit more breathing room to all of these elements, right? They shouldn't be so squished together. Left aligned, all of this. Yeah, and that would help quite a bit. Give it a little more breathing room up here, right? Making sure that all of the elements are proximal to each other, which means close enough that they're associated, but not so close that you're blurring the lines of what goes where. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Overall, this is awesome. I can appreciate the task that it was to separate what it is you do into these two silos and what that looks like on a site. Here we're taking a look at, this is Calvin's, English in 5. So this is a website designed for English language lessons, so about our school. You're going to want this left aligned, so anytime paragraph text, it's easier in English, specifically when we're reading from left to right, that our eyes are coming back to a consistent starting spot for each new line. It helps us track where we are, so you want to left align all of that. Here you are kind of having a sales pitch, if you will, and kind of like going down, seeing a little bit more about the services and what you do and why it's important. Video channel. I'm going to click on this. All right, so right now this is placeholder content. So I'm not exactly sure how to, what to expect with this there. This looks like maybe, again, placeholders for where you're going to be able to outline the services or the courses. I get that, and then a contact. This is really going to need to be formalized, right? Like, so if someone's buying something for you or signing up, you're really going to want to customize this, like asking more about them and their needs and which product are they interested in, at what level is their English proficiency, so that kind of stuff, so that you are minimizing the back and forth and getting that information. I'm kind of clicking on these. Book online. It's taking me to a place to get language coaching. Okay, so this is looking good. There's a lot of scrolling here to get to this where we could book, right? So if the point here is to get people to sign up, put this at the top, not at the bottom. Coursework. I dig the color palette that you've got going on here. It's inviting. It seems kind of like kind of sunny, kind of California vibes, but like part of that has to do with this imagery that's complementing. And if you don't have this stuff, like when you're swapping this out, something to be thinking about. If you put images in here that aren't supportive of the overall aesthetic, you're going to run into maybe it looking a little too like having too contrasting aesthetics. Something else to be paying attention to is I've seen some inconsistent capitalization in different places. Coursework, work, being capitalized, or sometimes coursework is even shown as a single word. So plans and pricing, there's nothing listed here, right? So kind of waiting for that to come in. This is all very work in progress. I don't really know how to understand it because it doesn't really talk about what it means to be a member or a VIP. And it seems like this is, hey Calvin, this looks great. So like a little about you, about your background. This is kind of all like muddled up here too, so something for you to look at. The recommendation here, like I can only give so much feedback on something that's not fleshed out, but certainly I can see this as, really in development and something that you're passionate about moving forward. Certainly you could use all your media communication skills to create a very thoughtful, English as a second language curriculum and all of the media needed to support and teach that in a dynamic way. Happy to look at this again when you have more of that in place and to be able to comment on the features and functionality and the things, the services and whatnot that you're providing when you have that all together. So, another useful thing might be to take this to our international department and see what kind of feedback that you get from them. But overall, I see the vision, but also that there's quite a bit of content and development that still needs to go into place in order for this to be functional for what you're looking for. Hey Brett, taking a look at this website that you've made. I read all of the comments that you included with the post. So, one of the questions, one of the charges to you in portfolio is always to think about, why do I need a portfolio site? And do I need a portfolio site? And if I don't need one, what should I have instead? And I get that you have used different things in the past that have felt a little bit more relevant to where you are and what you want to do, but perhaps now heading into public relations and some of that, like you are, you know, are seeing a need for this in a different way. So I'm happy to kind of poke through what you said here. This kind of language, welcome to my website, is a little dated. So like this is the more important information, right? And by putting this here, you're kind of pushing this down a little bit further. And notice how like my viewable area on this, it's kind of small, and then it pops up open and gets a little bit bigger. A lot of text, right? This is pretty dense text. Not sure also why like this wraps to 2 lines, but look how all of this layering makes this kind of difficult to read. So my recommendation is to go with less opacity and easier, larger viewing areas. So here we've got several different pieces of work and things that I could click on. I'm going to select this. It's going to take me to an image here, but like past work, what does this tell me though, right? Like, I don't even know which one of these people is you. I mean, I do, but like if I was a stranger, right, I wouldn't know, right? And this is just the file name. So you're going to need to get in there and do the work of dotting those I's and crossing those T's by getting rid of the information that shouldn't be there and adding things like this, right? So you did logo design. Here you participated in that. So this is what I need for all of them. So just make sure that you're hitting all of that up. These are places that you've been featured, your experience. So you might want to include. So and like that little thing that flew in here, that it was just different from everything else. So it stands out as different. If you're going to do it for everything, or don't do it at all, because otherwise it's just like, oh, like here's a different little thing. Places to connect online, some of the social stuff that you're including, a simple content. Whoa. Too much. Too much in terms of the movement, too much in terms of like the flying in. You have all of this amazing content, right? And so it's this beautiful one pager. But just a little bit of work needs to be done in showcasing this stuff in a way that is a bit more user-friendly, right? So when we don't have a picture of you here, right? And without that picture, we don't know that this is actually you yet, or it makes it less easy to associate what we need to associate. I would also recommend you cutting this down a little bit so it's not just text here, and maybe a shorter blurb, and then a place that I could read more, and maybe the read more takes me to another page, right? Because here I'm having to scroll for days to get all this background information. And also there's a lot of really awesome projects here, but someone's not going to poke through this many likely. So I would maybe recommend 3 projects as a feature and then a link to all of them, right? So if I could only know 3 things about you, what would those 3 things be? And how do you want to tell me so that I'm not missing out on something cool or some understanding of something that you've done, right? This is a great start. Like all of the components are here, and with just like some retweaking and some thoughtful moving things around, I think that you'll find that this is something that you can use, right? Like this image behind here, it's pretty, but like it's super pixelized, and like I would imagine that you have access to some pretty cool things to take pictures of. So get in there and get some better imagery, because this is just, it's too like compressed, it's too pixelized, right? And then last but not least, like if you've been featured in all of these things, like maybe you could include a note or 2 about what those features were, or how or why, just to give some context to what we're looking at here. Also, here's an also and also. Sorry, I've got a lot of things to say, it seems. But like not enough white space here. Like, I don't know that all of these either need to be this big, but like create a little bit more breathing room in this space for sure. I did want to take a look at this website that you created. I know you said that you created this for a client, and so I just wanted to kind of poke through, and to see what you've done here. So one thing is that any type of content that you're screenshotting that has words means that you lose that keyword rich indexing quality. So search engines aren't going to find this collection of pixels that are shaped into words that our human eyes can read. And so something for you to be thinking of is just like, how can I organize like 3 columns worth of text here and this many rows and this layout so that I could get the look that I want, but it could be something I could copy and paste under About Us. So this is kind of logging in a new page. The logo up here is so big. I think that you would do well to make it a little bit smaller and put it right up here, like in the top, and then give us a solid bar for this navigation, because it kind of gets lost over the buds, right? You've created these containers for the text to be in, but like the container needs padding inside or breathing room. So anytime you have a container, you don't want the content to go to the edges of the container, right? You need margins, you need that breathing room. Blog. So for here, so again, like this is your high value real estate before someone has to scroll, and you're putting the same information up here every time. So you definitely want to elevate this content here to a higher place of prioritization on the page. Places to become a member. Got the plans, got the pricing. These look really big. Are they that big because they're too hard to see over the images that you're choosing? Question mark. Question mark. Events, places to check out, contact us, social media, little form, but like, I always like a call to action, or like any form that doesn't kind of give me any indication of who this is going to or when I might expect a reply. Like, I don't trust it, right? Like, can I talk to a person, or can I get the name of a person, or can I get like some, more confirmation that this isn't just going to go into the abyss, right? So this is good. I'd rather email someone directly here at this address. This is a wonderfully functional site, great content. A few important layout changes could make this even more usable for sure. I'm not a huge fan of always having images in the background so that you have to put these containers around the text. These are great images, but I don't think that they necessarily need to be full screen like hero images the whole time. If you guys have any questions about this feedback that's been provided, holler and let me know. Always a resource to you guys, and great job on how far you have come with these sites.